Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our virtual classroom. Let me get right to it. Today we're doing lesson 31-1 titled Bank Accounts. Please go ahead and take about a minute or so, pause this video as you copy these notes. I'm sorry. So again, go ahead and take about a minute, pause this video as you copy down these notes. 31-1 bank accounts. These are the numbers that are on Schoology. And these notes are also available to OneNote. Assuming that you've already copied these down, let me go ahead and zoom in right here. Let's talk about some of these. Firstly, let's talk about a checking account. Again, so we're talking about a bank, and if you've ever wondered if something is important or something in this class in math is important enough that you're going to use in the future, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. We use this kind of math all the time, and we'll talk more about this in class. For now, these are some of the terms that you need to know as we go forward. So we're not going to talk exactly about how banks themselves work, but we're going to talk about the way that you might use banks. And the first way that you might use banks is through a checking account. So there's different types of accounts that you might have: checking account, savings account. There's others. These are the two main ones, but a checking account is your main account. That is when you go to the bank, when you think about putting money into the bank, usually you're thinking about a checking account. There will essentially hold on to your money, and whenever you need it, it's there for you. So that is a checking account, pretty much like that. There's different ways of accessing that money through checks, through debit cards, through ATMs, etc. But that's pretty much it. That is your main account. Your main account is your checking account. And one thing about a checking account is that it may acquire interest. It may acquire interest, meaning that the bank will actually, over time, the longer you have your money in there in the bank, they will reward you by making that money grow, by increasing it by a certain percentage. So we're not going to talk too much about interest in this class, but just know that the bank may reward you for having your money there. It may become more. The longer you have it in there, the more it's going to grow. With that in mind, let's move on to the savings account. The savings account. And you can think of a savings account as an actual piggy bank, okay? Where when you put money in a piggy bank or you're storing money somewhere, usually it's not because you're going to be using that every single day. You're saving it there for a rainy day, for an emergency, or maybe you want to buy something that's quite expensive in the future. So you need to save money for that. And so that's really what a savings account is. It's not money that you're going to be going to every single day like you would with a checking account, but it's money that again, you want to have it there, and you're storing it and you're making it grow by putting more and more money in there. Now, the thing about savings account is that it's not as easy to access as a checking account, but again, that's on purpose. You know, you don't want to have easy access to that because you want it to stay in there, you want it to grow. And the thing is that the bank will reward you. They will reward you for having money in the savings account, money that is going to stay there for a long time, probably, and it will acquire interest over time. So the more money you have in there, the more it's going to grow by a certain percentage. Again, we're not going to talk too much about interest, but just know that a savings account will definitely grow over time. The more money you have in there, the longer it's in there, the more it will grow. And that's all you really need to know right now about that. Moving on. Next, let's talk about a debit card. And what I do want you to know about a debit card, and if you will actually make an arrow from your checking account to your debit card, or maybe the other way around, from your debit card to your checking account, because a debit card is essentially your key to your checking account. Now, to get money out of your checking account, you don't physically have to go to the bank and say, hey, I need my money. Like, that's not how, I mean, that is how it works, but how many of us have time to go to the bank whenever we need money? Or whenever we're going to make a purchase at, I don't know, a fast food restaurant. You don't say, hey, wait a second, let me go to the bank and get some money so I can pay you. No, you have a debit card, which is essentially looks a lot like a credit card. It looks a lot like a credit card, but it functions differently because a debit card essentially gives you access to money that is actually yours. Whatever money you've put into the bank account, just by swiping it, that gives them direct access to however much money you told them they can get. Like if something costs $17, swipe the debit card, they can get $17 from your account. That's how it works. Or you can use it not just for the checking account, but you can use it at the ATM. Let's say you need to withdraw money. You need actual cash. You go to an ATM. The ATM tells you, well, you can get this much money because that's how much money you have in your bank account. That's pretty much it. Debit card allows you to access money from your checking account. That is your money. That is your actual money. If you don't have money in your checking account, guess what? No debit card. You can't use it, or it's going to get declined, or it's going to acquire debt, and it's not going to be good. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. But debit card, checking account. That's pretty much it. All right. Hopefully that made sense. Feel free to rewind, rewatch this part if you need some clarification. Let's talk about a few more terms now, though. Let's talk about these three terms. These three go together, and they are withdraw, deposit, and transfer. This is pretty much what this means. Withdraw, ladies and gentlemen, means to remove money from an account. You go to the bank, you withdraw money. When you use your debit card, you're essentially withdrawing money from a checking account. You can't go to the bank and withdraw money from your savings account to do something with it. It just means removing money away from an account. Typically, it means withdrawing and taking it away from the account and out of the bank, usually. Next, we have the deposit. Deposit, which deposit means to add money to an account. When you go to the bank, you deposit money into your account, or you can use whatever. Whenever I get paid, it deposits automatically into my account. So you're increasing. Depositing means increase. Withdraw means decreasing. So if you want, why don't you do that? For withdraw, you can put a minus sign because you're decreasing the money that you have in the bank. And deposit means increasing the money that you have in the bank. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the word transfer. And the word transfer simply means to move money from one account to the other. So you're transferring it from the checking account to the savings, or savings to checking. And that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty simple. So hopefully that wasn't too difficult, even though some of you guys may not have ever considered some of these things, but we will talk about them more in class. So with that in mind, I will see you later.